Hello everyone, this is Here's Trivia, and today we're concluding the Terrible Regents of Wu Let's Talk Lore series with episode 8, titled Emperor Sun Xiu. Before we get started, here's the answer to our trivia question from the end of our last episode. Now last time, we ended as Sun Chen foiled Emperor Sun Liang's planned coup against him, and in retaliation, Sun Chen forced Sun Liang into abdicating the throne, as Sun Chen then appointed Sun Liang's older brother, and Sun Quan's sixth son, Sun Xiu, who was the prince of Langya at the time, to become the new emperor of Wu. Once Sun Xiu assumed the throne, he clearly knew that he was just a puppet emperor at the mercy of Sun Chen. So his first order of business was to reward Sun Chen and his four brothers in order to demonstrate his gratitude for being picked to become the emperor. Sun Chen was named to become both the Grand General and the Prime Minister of Wu. Additionally, he was also named as the governor of the Jin province, and his marquis title of Yongning also expanded to include the tax incomes of 5 new counties. Sun Chen's brother, Sun En, who was already the general of the martial guards, would also receive new promotions to take on the additional roles of a senior imperial secretary and as the general of the guards. Sun Chen's other 3 brothers would also receive similar levels of promotions, as Sun Ju became the general of the right, Sun Gan earned himself a generalship, and Sun Kai became a second marquis title holder. Now, despite these promotions, the appeasement of Sun Chen was never going to work, as Sun Chen's appetite for power was simply endless, especially considering how he would never truly respect Emperor Sun Xiu, given that in his mind, Sun Xiu is only emperor because he had chosen him. So in the days after Sun Xiu's ascension to the throne, Sun Chen started occupying himself with the matters of personal fame, as Sun Chen started to target various temples honoring local heroes of past dynasties, and Buddhist monasteries, as he wanted to eliminate idol worship amongst the people. Now, he did not do this to educate and enlighten the masses, but rather Sun Chen wanted to cast himself as an idol for the commoners to worship instead, as government titles no longer could satisfy his growing ego. Then during one imperial feast, after Sun Chen had a few too many cups to drink, he tried to make an offering of beef and alcohol to Emperor Sun Xiu, who also had a few cups already. Sun Xiu politely declined Sun Chen's offering on the ground that he was already getting tipsy and didn't want to overindulge. Already drunk, Sun Chen did not take the rejection well, as he would storm back to his seat and continue to drink, while Emperor Sun Xiu excused himself from the feast. Seeing that the emperor had left, Sun Chen mindlessly started to chat with the new general of the left, Zhang Bu, who was seated next to him, as Sun Chen started to brag about how he could have easily named himself as emperor after Sun Liang's abdication, and how Emperor Sun Xiu was rude to have refused his offering. Now, the problem with Sun Chen's statement here is not just that it was treasonous, but the person he was sharing this with happens to be the only true Sun Xiu loyalist at court. As you see, General Zhang Bu was Sun Xiu's lieutenant of the guards back when Sun Xiu was just the prince of Langya, and due to their close relationship, Sun Xiu promoted Zhang Bu to become the new general of the left. So after the feast concluded, Zhang Bu immediately informed Emperor Sun Xiu of Sun Chen's drunken proclamation, and the two of them started their preparations to bring down Sun Chen for good, as Sun Xiu knew from that point on that he could not coexist with Sun Chen. But before any decisive action would be taken, Sun Xiu knew he had to continue to appease Sun Chen to not spark a usurpation. So during the next few weeks, Sun Chen's every request was approved, even when Sun Chen requested to leave the capital with over 10,000 troops and 2 imperial secretaries, as Sun Chen was basically planning to run the entire government from his own military camp outside the capital without any plans to involve the emperor. Furthermore, when a whistleblower from Sun Chen's own household made claims that Sun Chen was planning to usurp the throne for himself, instead of investigating Sun Chen, Sun Xiu promptly arrested the rumor monger and sent him to Sun Chen, who would then immediately execute the man. In short, Sun Xiu did everything in his power to appease Sun Chen to buy more time for Zhang Bu to formulate a plan to take down Sun Chen for good. And Zhang Bu would not disappoint, as he would bring in General Ding Feng, who, as Zhang Bu describes, is someone who might be uneducated and illiterate, but also, at the same time, always seems to come up with the right plan. In this case, Ding Feng suggested that with Sun Chen and his brothers so deeply entrenched at court, it would be difficult to remove them through political means alone. Instead, they could look to take advantage of the end of the year winter ritual ceremony, where Sun Chen, as the prime minister, has to attend. There, they could ambush Sun Chen away from the security of his retinue troops to capture and then kill him. Of course, Sun Chen was not oblivious to this possibility, as in the days leading up to the ceremony, Sun Chen repeatedly tried to excuse himself from the event. However, given the importance of the end of the year winter ritual ceremony and Sun Chen's position as the prime minister, after Sun Xiu sent over a delegation of over 10 imperial court officials to request Sun Chen's attendance, Sun Chen knew he had to at least make somewhat of an appearance. So on December 8th, 258, on the day of the ceremony, Sun Chen told his family to wait for the start of the ceremony and then start a large fire in their own home so that he could use the fire as an excuse to leave the ceremony ahead of its start. However, this plan did not work, as Sun Xiu refused to allow Sun Chen to leave, even when news of the fire at Sun Chen's estate reached them. Then, when Sun Chen tried to force his way out of the ceremony, Zhang Bu and Ding Feng, along with their retinue troops, swarmed the ceremonial grounds and seized Sun Chen. Fearing for his own life, Sun Chen immediately pleaded with Emperor Sun Xiu to have him exiled instead of executing him. Emperor Sun Xiu responded by asking Sun Chen why he never offered exile to the likes of Teng Yin and Lu Ju. Cowering in fear, Sun Chen then begged to be casted into slavery instead. Once again, Sun Xiu asked why he never offered this choice to the likes of Teng Yin and Lu Ju. And before Sun Chen could say another word, he was killed on the spot. Now, Sun Chen's death is not the end of our story, as Emperor Sun Xiu still had to deal with Sun Chen's personal retinues and Sun Chen's 4 brothers. To prevent another civil war, Sun Xiu offered all the troops an imperial pardon if they would just lay down their arms. Enticed by this offer of leniency and having witnessed Sun Chen's death, over 5,000 of Sun Chen's retinue surrendered on the spot. The remaining loyal troops were easily put down, as Sun Chen's brothers would all soon be captured and executed as well. In addition to Sun Chen, even the previous regent, Sun Chen's cousin, Sun Jun, would be punished posthumously, as Emperor Sun Xiu ordered for Sun Jun to be dug up. Sun Jun's coffin would be chopped into small logs and thrown on top of Sun Jun's now exposed decaying body as punishment. Furthermore, Sun Xiu decreed that both Sun Chen and Sun Jun were so terrible that both would be stripped of their Sun imperial surname. Instead, they would be forever known as Gu Chen and Gu Jun, with Gu meaning former. Now, aside from handing out punishment, Sun Xiu would also go on to clear the names of the victims of these 2 regions, as the likes of Zhuge Ke, Teng Yin, Lu Ju would all be posthumously awarded as true heroes to the kingdom. But at the same time, there were also other victims that Sun Xiu would purposely ignore. For example, Princess Sun Luban, who was exiled after Sun Liang's failed coup, would remain exiled until the end of her days because Sun Xiu's wife would be none other than Sun Luyu's daughter, Lady Zhu. Also, former Emperor Sun Liang, who was definitely a victim of Sun Chen, would never get his exile revoked, as Sun Liang's return would in a sense jeopardize the legitimacy of Sun Xiu's own emperorship. So instead, in 260, after rumors spread that Sun Liang was committing witchcraft in Kuaiji to curse the emperor, Sun Liang's prince title was revoked and lowered to just a Marquis title. Additionally, as part of his new Marquis title, Sunil would be exiled farther down south, but before he could reach his final destination, he would die mysteriously on the way. The most accepted theory is that the guard sent by Sunil to exile his younger brother Sunil was told to poison him, as Sunil wanted to eliminate this potential political threat for good. But we have no real evidence to confirm this theory, as Sunil would go on to execute all the guards on the grounds that their oversight had caused the death of his younger brother. In conclusion, Sunil would go on to assume full imperial power as the third emperor of Wu after the death of Sun Chen, just 2 months into Sunil's reign. But by this time, the damage to the kingdom was already done, as the roughly 6-long-year reign of first Regent Sun Jun, and then later his cousin, Regent Sun Chen, had already set the kingdom of Wu back tremendously, especially as they missed out on the period of political instability within their rival kingdom of Wei due to the takeover by the Sima clan. From this point on, a much more united kingdom of Wei under the Sima banner would soon prove too much for first the kingdom of Shuhan and later on the kingdom of Wu. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here, as for now, with the conclusion of this series, we will be returning next time to continue the Fall of Wei Let's Talk Lore series with Act 4, titled The Third Rebellion Huainan, where we will look at the rebellion from Zhuge Dan and Sima Zhao's perspectives. So hopefully y'all have enjoyed this episode and series enough to consider subscribing to the channel for more content on Three Kingdoms history, or simply support the channel by leaving a comment below, or just by hitting the like button. And as always, I'll see you all next time. Bye!